with other options, it just becomes untenable. And maybe we're back.
Looks like it. Hopefully, it's still going a little slowly for me.
There
seem
we
to have
go.
a freeze frame. Let's see.
So it looks like we had Young and also our wonderful Quake Kid Palom also.
Oh, and our starting item was apparently a Drain Spear, one of the worst items in the game in that extended key item pool. It may be rare, but you're not going to be able to do some. It has such a bad hit rate and such bad stat penalties that even compared to the Drain Sword, it's utter garbage.
Worst case scenario, it does have -10 agility. So if you need a good agility anchor, it's slightly superior to the Drain Sword in terms of knocking down Kane's agility.
Definitely.
But
on T4, you're going to find something better for Kane, and you're going to want him swinging away.
Absolutely. So we see most of the runners doing kind of a standard opening route, going to check in the Fabul, or not Fabul, the Damsian treasure rooms. Dunka looks like he's taking a different route. He's going into the Mist Village for some extra loot there. Not a whole lot terribly exciting, though, from what I...
Yeah, I mean, there's still, there's still 7 or 8 spots to check in Mist Village, so if you're just trying to front load all your treasure hunting, it's not a bad idea, because there's about 15 or so in Baron, about 7 or 8 there, and then, of course, a whole bunch in Damsian and Antlion Cave. So these few early checks can give our racers more than enough loot going forward, but you may not want to overdo it, because this is K3. We will be hunting trapped chests in various dungeons, and that means we'll be opening the untrapped chests there as well. The locations are randomized.
So Big Dunka just stopped and at least took a peek at that boss in the Mist Cave. Do you want to explain a little bit why we might want to just check to see what kind of bosses we're looking at in those?
Sure. This is, well, a couple of reasons. This is N2. This is also true for N1, which means you don't get a free item from Edward in the Troya bed. You do have to hunt and kill the Mist Dragon instead, and then you can come back and get your key item from Rydia's mom in Mist Village. We don't know where Mist Dragon is yet. It could be in its vanilla spot. We've seen that plenty of times. It could be in the Octomammoth spot, or a few others that you're not likely to visit over the course of your run while clearing out other key item locations. So sometimes that one little peek there can take just a few seconds, but give you a major advantage over your competition if it has something important.
Absolutely. And I'm seeing just a loaded Antlion Cave right now. I've seen a life staff. I've seen let's see, a crystal ring as well. So there's all sorts of goodies there. I did also, I believe, we had Baka Shinobi take a peek and see what character was up on Mount Hobbs for us, where you normally get Young. And we do have, I think we cursed it, we have an Edward in this seed.
Oof. And Edward, he gets a bad rap. But there are some things Edward can do that no other character can by virtue of his hide command. Of course, a lot of these cheesy strats that you can use to get to certain parts in a boss's script aren't really going to come up while you're doing an N2 seed. So utility definitely more restricted, but we have seen an Artemis bow. Find some arrows to go with them. Find an adamant armor, and Eddie will do considerably more damage than Yang will at this point in the game, even being half his level. So I don't hate Edward, but I already didn't anyway.
Yeah, we've had our conversations about, Deadward and his usefulness as a doormat here and there, but we'll go there. It looks like Baka Shinobi is our first to actually beat the boss in Antlion Cave, and he is rewarded with a ninja shirt, which is not nearly as good as you would think, because only Edge can equip that, and we may not even see an Edge.
Yeah, we may not even see him. It's good money, but on T4, nearly everything you find is good money. It does have some utility in that it's ridiculously high defense, but a lot of players will still prefer even the black belt gi that he comes with, because it gives better stat boosts. And if you're going for DPS over defense, it's typically the better option.
Meanwhile, Dusty Griff appears to have a Stardust Rod even on Quake Kid, so he's set as far as Palom's equipment is gone. Crystal Ring, Sorcerer's Robe. and Stardust Rod. Yes.
Hmm. I will note that Baka Shinobi peaked that Akamama spot. No Mist Dragon there. Instead, it's Valvolus, and ooh, that's not happening with this team, not yet. Ideally, we would like to find Kane so we can stop her spin. If not, we're going to need a much stronger character in the middle slot to be able to beat her up there. But it's not even required, so I don't think anyone's going back there.
And a great question from Demarine. It's C3, so why not take Edward like we have Baka Shinobi going ahead and doing? Sometimes if you're not used to Edward, I would say you can ditch him and just be comfortable not using him at all in the early game. Also, if you know you're gonna have to run into him at some point anyway, not going to go out of your way to go pick him up so you can avoid a boss fight that might be a little bit more difficult in the beginning. That's the only thing I'm thinking about as to why they would avoid it right there.
Yeah, I mean, you're not guaranteed to find him in another other spot, and even having the body early on can be advantageous. Of course, we do have Yang ready to soak hits with his... You're going to see how quickly his HP pool grows over the course of these first few fights. And Palom. Probably my favorite character to get in a seed early on. Doesn't take a whole lot of work to get him up to Virus and Quake levels, and with that Stardust Rod, we're going to see him cleaning up boss after boss this run.
And it's interesting because here we have that Dark Knight Cecil fight we were talking about earlier, and because we have the N2 flag on, we actually have to do some damage, and Palom goes down.
Wow.
Try to get a cure off. Yeah, that's going to be a rough spot to get past.
We don't even have to go to the moon to have a Rude Pain Man. Sometimes you just have to have a level 11 party. You know who could have probably thrown a Cure 2 quickly enough there for Dusty Griff?
Edward. Yeah. Thanks. We see Donka going ahead and putting Edward to work. He's using that Artemis bow that he did end up finding, so he'll be a little bit more set up than I think Dusty Griff or Baka Shinobi is for this particular fight.
Oh, yeah.
Man, this is going to be rough because he does a ton of damage.
And even if he doesn't have good arrows, as long as you have some arrows on, Edward's going to be getting that plus 10 agility from the bow. It might even be more than that. I need to look up my weapon stats right quick. And that, again, will give him such fast turns, be able to throw out those Cure 2s, and basically keep your DPS, Palom, up and running.
Yeah, because there is no way that Edward is going to be able to stay alive for anything.
Yeah, he won't survive long, but he can definitely keep it going. And it is plus 10 to the physical stats, just double-checked it. At this point, you also have to keep in mind, there's only one key item here. Are you really going to sink all these turns into the DKC fight for one item?
Man, it'd be really difficult for me to justify it. I think I might do one time and then nope out of there. Otherwise, you might be looking at... I mean, your options are really limited early game. There's only a handful of spots you can go to, and none of them are terribly good right now. I mean, you do have a few other options because it's K3. You have the Eblin treasure chests. Dusty does manage to, just power his way through there.
Oh yeah, if you there was some subtle things there that you may not have noticed, but it was mostly just extremely quick menuing. He may have thrown in a run buffer there or two to try to freeze DKC's ATB, which is, of course, ATB, the general battle system that kind of started with this game going forward in at least the United States Final Fantasies that we received. And got those cures off in time, got 2 Ice 2s off with the kid. Ooh! And finding a crystal sword in Sheila's tower, I want a paladin in this game. I want to see some nice, bit juicy 7,000 damage strikes on my Zeromus fight.
I mean, it would be nice, but again, with that C3, we don't necessarily know. But I mean, it does make it less painful to go at ordeals if that's where we end up having to go. We did end up just getting a pink tail from that key item spot. It is another key item, so something to keep in mind, but not exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah. Well, also we've not seen any adamants and any adamant armor in any of our random chests. It is T4. They can be in the pool, but if it just didn't roll any, that pink tail will end up being very nice to have in certain fights. Oh, especially with N2 on. Now that I think about it, you want all the defenses you can since your offense is so neutered.
Absolutely. So where do we go from here? So we've seen kind of some general cleaning up of the overworld. We're doing some, looks like Baka Shinobi is doing some shopping. Hourglasses are going to be incredibly important, especially in this early game. It's entirely possible that our kind of chain to get to the underground and eventually to the moon is going to be in one of those trap chests in Ebland, which at our current levels, normally we would not be able to do. But those hourglasses really allow you to stop everything and just work your way through those fights as slowly as you need to.
Absolutely. And there are other tools that can speed them up. Coffins are potentially available for sale in an overworld item shop. That'll let you cheese everything that's not undead. And if we do go there, I do believe some of our characters found a Big Bomb item, which does a pretty powerful Fire 2 spell on all targets. And that will also do a lot of work that fight. And Baka's going in. Now, the one thing that I would consider, I guess we didn't see sirens, but you also kind of want, if you can, to have a few more levels on the kid. If you don't have those, I mean, I guess tier 2 spells are sufficient. Yeah, we'll see just how much damage the kid's doing after we get this hourglass off.
Not bad. Meanwhile, Smepty is actually going to Baron Inn and taking on the two fights there. It is a Sid. So we have ourselves two great HP just sinks. But Optimum is, well, he can hit you a little bit hard, can't he?
Oh, yeah, and if depending on the armor Smepty has on... Okay, insufficient funds. Sorry. Sorry, Palom. Come back again. Come back when you're older, kid. Yeah, punching very fast, very hard in that spot. If you can get several attacks off, you'll slow it down and have an easier go of it. Perhaps putting Yang in the back row and throwing Cure 2s could get Smepty through the fight. Or even just finding better armor in a chest. So, a few things that could help there. But you're absolutely right. Sid just comes in at level, I believe, 25 starting. Boatload of HP, decent physical attacker. Kind of crappy at the end game, but you can still get some really good use out of him through agility anchoring and other little tricks.
Meanwhile, while Baka Shinobi is taking on those treasure chests, it looks like Dusty is going up ordeals. And we're greeted with a lunar boss right to start off with. This is going to be interesting. Oh, and Dunka has an Avenger sword in his inventory. I didn't even realize he picked one of them. Yeah,
but no one can use it yet. And we know that 4 of our 5 characters are not Adamant users. At this point, you have to ask yourself, not Adamant, Avenger, would you rather find a white mage who can actually cast some healing magic? Or would you rather find a character who can use the Avenger so you have the DPS going on? Sorry. Go ahead, Fantasia. I'm still reeling in disgust over the 4 party members that have been rolled for us. Where's my white mage?
Yeah, there's nothing so far. And I tell you what, I grew up in a world where I was always the DPS in the MMOs I played, so the best way to heal is to just kill it faster than your heals need to come out. So
there you go. You know, this does add an interesting wrinkle into our flags, though. So we do have the S2 flag on, which there's a specific safety check that was included in the randomizer around the time of the Zima Zone playoffs. And it's that if you have C3 on, which of course means you only get 5 characters, you're not guaranteed a white mage, S2 kicks in a little bonus feature, and it means that a shop somewhere will sell Cure 3s. So we're guaranteed to have them for sale somewhere. Worst case scenario, we may be going to the final fight with some chemists instead of some white mages. So at least we have that backup, but Z can still be, Z being Zeromus of course, can still be a very rude fight if we don't have that kind of support.
Man, Dusty is just striving hard, and 2 of the Mega Sisters go down. 1 more to go. Oh, Baka found the hook.
Ooh, Ooh, excellent. The, Huh. I wonder if our tracker, Mr. Ubik, if you're watching the chat, do you mind filling us in on where he picked that up? I would love to know that.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say, oh my gosh, Smepty and Big Dunk are just in sync. But since he was in Castle Eblin, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was in that chest fight. So
Gotcha.
he's going to come over here and actually check another character spot before he opens any treasure chests. Now, this does open 2 more trap treasure chest locations, in addition to giving us a theoretical access to the underworld, but man, we're really hoping not.
I'm surprised you didn't check the shop on the way down, because based on how I don't think we saw sirens in a shop. I've not been paying, perfect attention to the inventories of each character. Ooh, there's another thing here. Even though he didn't get another character, he knows what he has to go through. Asura is in the Rubicon spot. That's actually not that bad, because Star Veils should be for sale in the overworld, and you can always throw 2 of those on a character to get Reflect up on her, so she's no longer healing herself. But we may also be on the lookout for Elven Bows, Mute Arrows, Mute Daggers, things like this, which will actually let us do 4 times damage to the mage type Summon Queen.
Yeah, that is interesting. Really, we don't have any dagger user. I mean, okay, we have Edward, and you don't want Palom to have to do it, but I guess if you have to, there's sirens.
Yeah, speak of the devils.
Sirens. Yeah.
They're in Mysidia, so I'm a big fan of course, if you have them, going to Ordeals, going ahead and getting Virus, if not Quake, on that Palom, and just letting him clean everything up. But if you are having to do the Evelyn trap chests, you can probably life glitch most of the enemies there and get your levels that way. So, just depends on whether you want to front load or back load your XP gains there. I am a little sad though, Vitasia, because we were talking about how Cure 3s are guaranteed in a shop under this flag set. But I was kind of hoping that we would not find the hook. Sometimes you like to see an early hook just to troll people into having to go through nasty bosses. I like it to be your Cure 3s are for sale in Eblin, and your hook is hidden on the moon.
That is horrible. Why would you wish that upon anyone? You're a monster.
Because it's happened to me more than once, and I want other people to enjoy that full-flavored, that full-bodied free enterprise experience. That
full-bodied free enterprise experience is not for the faint of heart in any capacity. But yeah, I mean, I think we've all been into a point with randomizers, not just for even this game, but for other randomizers and the RN Jesus definitely likes to have fun with us every now.
Oh, definitely. So this is kind of funny because, again, you see T4, you think, oh baby, give me some adamant armors and chests. And if we had even found 1 suit of adamant armor, pretty much all these rude bosses we fought and found in the overworld would be utterly trivial. They'd be hitting for 1 damage if they could connect at all. But the seeds actually making them struggle a little bit to get through everything. Natara rolled a humdinger of 1 for the community tonight.
Absolutely. So Dusty's trying to get through this Octomom fight. I don't know if anyone's managed to get that Sid because Octomom is absolutely rude here. Smepty is now on to the trap chest in Eblin. Dusty's getting...
So, fun little fact though. I was mentioning how we've not found an adamant armor yet, but if we look closely at the combination of Baka Shinobi's tracker and the other 3 trackers, there's one just hiding in wait, and Smepty is going to be the first one to it. If he's willing to dip out of here and quickly go turn in that pink tail, he'll be off to the races for nearly all these early fights, and could probably gain a substantial advantage on his opponents.
That's interesting, because the pink tail adamant armor doesn't usually come into play until much, much later in a potential seed, but being able to have access to that adamant armor and knowing that this is probably a hook seed, we're going to be going on a little bit of a field trip at some point. Yeah, that could make a pretty significant difference. I really hope Smepty does.
Yeah. I mean, it is possible that the magma key is also lurking in one of these trap chests, and we don't have to go through there. But even aside from Asura at Rubicante's spot, which is pretty reasonable, the King and Queen Evelyn spot is also really rude. It's kind of funny, because in the vanilla game, they assigned them a strength, a physical attack stat, but they never use it. They only cast Fire 1 and Fire 2. So if in the randomizer, you get assigned a physically focused boss there, all of a sudden your HP are going down the drain. So that pink tail, don't forget to turn that in before diving that cave, racers. Don't forget.
All right, so Baka finishing up, getting Sid going. Dusty also there. Dunka, looks like Dunka's actually climbing up ordeals right now as well. Smepty appears to be making a beeline, gonna get that pink tail first thing.
Oh yeah, appeared to clean out the tower he was currently in, so he wouldn't have to come back up there. He's like, give me that beautiful, and it's not just the defense, like pretty much nothing will hit him for more than 1 damage at this point from that adamant armor, but it also gives plus 15 to all your stats. So we're gonna see that quack kid spell power go through the roof here between the combination of that and the Stardust Rod we already have.
It's always kind of an interesting conundrum. Who do you put the adamant armor on? Because it does just make them absolutely a boss in everything that they try to do. Do you put it on a Palom who already has a sorcerer robe, or do you put it on a Young who will eventually be able to punch like crazy, but doesn't really have some optimal armor at the moment?
That's true, but honestly, as long as it's a boss that I can kill with magic, I think I'm gonna play to my strengths, and Yang just isn't my strength right now.
Absolutely fair. Another crystal ring. Man, there's a lot of crystal rings just kind of out and about.
Another great item to have. So one style of gameplay that a bunch of us have been doing lately is playing K4, where it can be, again, like K3, can be in any chest, but you're not guaranteed a path underground that doesn't go through the moon. And doing 2v2, you and a partner communicating. It's not shared inventory, but it's just shared knowledge. And we have discovered that crystal rings, they have this lesser known quality of giving you bonus defense against dragon attacks. And if we end up having to find our darkness crystal, not our darkness crystal, our crystal, the one we really need, behind some red or blue dragon chests on the moon, all of a sudden those crystal rings, you're going to be glad for each and every one of those in your inventory.
That's really interesting. Is that a new property that was recently discovered, or has it been out there and we're just like, oh, we didn't realize how awesome it would be?
Well, I mean, it's known since people were able to, kind of look at the game and see what the properties on each item are. It's just that in the vanilla game, the main place to get crystal rings are the super rare drop from red dragons, which I'm not trying to fight a whole bunch of red dragons in the vanilla game. Speedrunners definitely aren't trying to fight a whole bunch of red dragons. So it's not just something that you frequently come across.
Fair. Absolutely fair. So we see the runners kind of going over each other's steps right now. Smepty is still the only one with that adamant armor who has both the hook and the pink tail. Although Baka Shinobi looks to be heading that direction, I still get the sense that we're going to the underground through that hook. But we haven't seen all the chests in Evelyn. We haven't haven't even checked the trap chest up in the Tower of Zot. That could be a possibility as well. Who knows what we're going to see.
And if the seed wanted to be extra mean, it could even be, because even though we don't have the Earth Crystal, you can still fight the first boss location in Zot, the Vanilla Magus Sisters location, and Mist Dragon could be there guarding the Magma Key, which would also be a beautiful way for the seed to troll our runners. In all honesty, though, I think if you do end up finding it there, you don't feel bad as a racer. You go, thank goodness, because no one in their right mind is going there. So absolutely. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's one of the interesting things about the 2v2s that have been coming out. You can have one of your partners go and check those crazy one-off locations just on the off chance that something might be there. while someone else follows more traditional routing. So that's one of those interesting dynamics of the 2v2 that's been gaining popularity in the community.
Oh yeah, definitely. Someone can do, the broad strokes, and someone can, clean up those finer little details. Racing a video game as janitorial services. Who knew?
Oh god.
So it looks like Smatey's probably going to be the first one to give our audience a peek at. Okay, Baka Shinobi is heading back in Eblin. Did Baka Shinobi not full clear Eblin while he was there? And apparently not. Smatey's working on it now. So I'm really wondering now what's in the Stellman Skulls chest and what's in the Mad Ogre chest. Oh, Dusty's found the Stellman and the Skulls. Here we go.
Smepty looks like he doesn't necessarily know some of the secret passages. And of course, you figure a castle full of ninjas is going to have all the secret available to him.
I played a Tenchu game or two back in the day. Sounds pretty correct to me. Ooh, and there's the Mad Ogre chest. We're about to see two of these key item checks roughly simultaneously from our runners. Now, admittedly, by the way, the Mad Ogre chest is probably not the one you want the adamant armor on the kid for. Unless you do have a mute knife or mute arrows or an elven bow, he's not really going to be doing much contributing to this fight.
No, not whatsoever. But, this is why you have to really take a consideration of what you're going to do. But you also don't want to have to de-equip an adamant armor on someone else.
Oh yeah, do you want to talk about that glitch a little bit from the vanilla game that is still... I mean, most of the vanilla glitches are still in there, especially annoying ones like that. Yeah,
so I fully don't completely understand this. So guys, and InVen, please correct me as I mess this up inevitably. So... So when you equip the adamant armor, you get all of the wonderful things associated with it, plus 15 to all stats. Your attack power and defense power go through the roof. Everything seems awesome. But I guess the game never anticipated you taking the adamant armor off, because if so, all of a sudden you're weak to everything.
Yeah, exactly. All three of the primary elements, fire, ice, and lightning, you will be vulnerable to if you take that adamant armor off, unless you have another piece of gear that makes up for it. This isn't a problem at certain points in the run. For instance, the Zaroma Spite will not use any elemental magic on you at all, but it is definitely something you have to be concerned with if you're trying to shuffle it around through the middle game.
All right, so looks like Baka Shinobi is through that fight now. Will be awarded whatever's that, Full Moon.
I mean... Yeah, that's just simply not what you want to see. It does have some use. Speaking of glitches that even our glitchless flag, which is enabled tonight, does not patch out. One is that if you set the back row property on a character, it doesn't fall off on its own. So you throw a Full Moon into Edge's right hand if we find him, and change it back out for your favorite Masamune, Murasame, sort of your choice. And he can hit from the back row just as well as he can from the front. And sometimes, more importantly, you can hit enemies in the back row as though they were right next to you. Pretty handy against, say, the Maga Sisters, which we have seen, and a few other boss fights.
Absolutely. So, looks like Smepty is still doing some shopping. Baka Shinobi, though, looks to be committing to diving down. Now, there's still the wonderful trap chest in this cave, as well as in the Tower of Babel upper part as well. Wouldn't that be rude if the last treasure chest in Upper Babel actually had the magnet key?
I mean, we've seen it before. You could even, theoretically, I don't think I've seen this in the wild, but that King Queen Evelyn spot could be it can be Miss Dragon. Seen that before. And I don't know if it can have the Magma Key. The programmer of this game, of this randomizer, Boardface, I don't know if he included, a polite little safety check there to make sure that you wouldn't just have to backtrack all the way out to get your Magma Key. Would be pretty funny, but I can't say one way or the other. But that would be the real rudeness.
Safety checks in a randomizer? What? No.
We'll say sanity check more so than safety check. How's that?
Fair enough.
It's like we don't want vanilla standard game behaviors, you know, theoretically, to make people roll their eyes and say, "Why did you do this to me? Whose idea was this anyway?" Now we do, if you want to say that on a regular basis, have we got flag sets for you? But that's one of those things that I don't want to just run into naturally, you know?
Absolutely. So looks like people are kind of running all over. It looks like Dusty Griff is going to be picking up his adamant armor here directly. Dunka is going to be available for it, and has Baka still not gone over? Oh, there's the pass in a treasure chest.
Yeah, one of the 3 we can find. That'll be very handy, ultimately. If we find the crystal sooner rather than later, we do have to have both the crystal and a way to get the Zeromus, which means either a pass or a darkness crystal. Good news for all our racers is that if they are cleaning out Cave Evelyn on the way down, which they should, there is a trap chest there with a key item, they'll probably find that pass as well, as long as they don't overlook it.
Meanwhile, Baka Shinobi is down with that Stale Man chest, and he is rewarded with, drumroll, ooh.
You know, that's a pretty good excuse to check the Flame Dog chest and maybe to find our 5th character.
Yeah, I looking at backing out right now because I'm a little bit nervous about doing these particular bosses anyway. So yeah, I would personally probably back out at this point. So I just realized the pass. You know, you and I know what it does, but I would eventually guess there's a handful of people who don't know what the pass actually does. This game.
We did mention that we need to have access to Zeromus, and one of the quality of life features in the game is that you don't have to fly to the moon and walk the full lunar path to get all the way down to, the 11th basement, 12th basement to fight the final fight. Instead of having the cafe, I forget the name of it, but
it's a strip club. Let's face it, it's a strip club.
Vitasia, please, come on. Instead of going to the rowdy dancing club in Troya, you give your pass, they say, have a good time, and instead you get to go fight the final boss of the game. Which, depending on your party, and looking at how this party's forming up, will probably be a bad time tonight.
Yeah, this is one of those party setups that you can easily see getting set up to the point where you think you're comfortable going, and you don't know how comfortable everyone else is going to be going to Zeromus, but someone's going to go too early.
Incidentally, thinking back to that Earth Crystal, if I'm in Baka Shinobi's shoes, the thing that I would be thinking here is, well, in all fairness, Baka Shinobi doesn't know what he's missing. He doesn't know that there's an adamant armor waiting for him, and his team can probably handle that fight at this point. So he's going to have a much rougher time. He may be the first one to get to these 2 Upper Babel bosses, but it's going to be a lot trickier without having that adamant armor to tank those hits, both from the King Queen Evelyn spot and then from Asura in turn. Joseph are asking in chat if the spoon flag is on. Regrettably, well, until the beta is in full release instead of just testing phases, these community races are being done on the stable 0.2 version, and accordingly there is no spoon flag. But just so everyone knows, one of the little fun flag additions that's being added to the beta is the ability for Edward to equip the spoon, becoming the spoony bard we always wanted him to be. That's right, gives him 255 attack power, he slices, he dices, he cuts their heart out with spoons, and Eddie does work. It's nice.
If he can live that long.
Well, we can smooth the adamant. You know, I would honestly consider moving the adamant armor over to him off of Palom, just for the meme value. But what can you do?
Amazing. Oh, here's our quad Mad Ogre fight, though, going on. It is the last treasure chest before everyone, so it's... Oh, man, this is...
Oh, I mean, Bach will be fine. Sid is using either... I'm not sure if it's an Elven bow with really good arrows or an Artemis bow with mute or charm arrows, but that Sid is doing quadruple damage to these things, one-shotting them with plenty of room to spare. But yeah, you might want to freeze them in place at some point here, Baka Shinobi, before things go too pear-shaped.
Meanwhile, everyone's starting to commit themselves to going down through this back tower portion. Some with 3 characters, some with 4. Well, okay, 3.5, because Edward is doing his best rug impression.
Yeah, Edward is... He has a lot more utility than people give him credit for, but admittedly, at this point on this seed with the stuff we found, he's gonna be inspecting that floor very carefully, looking for loose change.
It's like, I can see the grout in between these tiles.
It's like, this technology is amazing. I can't wait to rebuild my castle using this. You know, that glass hat, a lot of times people think, ugh, no magic defense, this is garbage at Zeromus. But with this team, I will take every ounce of physical defense I can get, at least for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing, literally. And in this case, Young was sitting without any hat. Oh, that's super interesting.
Okay.
So let's explain this one, yeah.
Yeah, so the Golbez fight is a scripted fight. He will start by taunting you a little bit, freezing you in place if you don't have paralysis defense, which I believe both the Crystal Ring and the Adamant Armor do provide here. And then his dragon comes and crunches down on all but 2 of your party members, but won't crunch more than 3 times. So if he tries to go over someone with insta-death protection, Adamant Armor, or Ribbon, it's just going to whiff. Then Golbez unfreezes you, and the fight gets going in earnest. Luckily for our racers, this spot, unluckily for Baka doesn't have the Adamant Armor. Oh my gosh, this is going to be trouble for him. Okay, good, he got the Star Veil off in time. If you can't get a Star Veil off, you're going to start eating a lot of magical damage really fast. This spot doesn't have the strongest, but Virus is still a very potent spell. If he hits Yang here, you'll see... Okay, no, he hit himself. Okay. I think that our characters could have survived that. So now it's pretty much all over with the Shaken for Baka. He has gotten Star Veils up, so he's not going to die to direct damage. Now you just have to do enough damage back to Golbez. So, should be fine. If it were a higher magic attack spot, you would have seen just how difficult this fight can get. High speed and high magic, and Golbez will dunk on you very quickly.
So here's why I think this is super interesting, and help me understand, because I want to make sure I get this right. But with the safeties that are built into the game, there is, quote, there is a way into the underground without having to go through Golbez or Wyvern. Isn't that right?
Oh my god, you're right. And the B1... Okay, so what Vitasia is specifically referring to here is the B1 flag. The B1 flag provides specific safety checks. You don't have to go through Val, you don't have to go through Golbez, you don't have to go through Wyvern, and you don't have to fight whatever boss is in the Odin spot in Baron. This means that the Magma Key is through Earth Crystal or at Flame Dog Chest. As soon as a racer sees Golbez, if they've been paying attention to that flag set, they will know this. I wasn't paying attention to that B flag. Thank you, Vitasia. Holy crap.
Yeah, that ends up making this a whole lot more attractive to back the heck out and go check those, because you may not have to deal with, even though we could probably get through the Asura spot, it's going to be a long and annoying fight, and you'll want to check those other character spots anyway. So I see no reason not to back out at that point.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it is still a little annoying because you do have to walk all the way back up the first part, and we don't have a white mage. So if we get back to the cave and we don't have the exit spell, we have to walk out another 3 or 4 transitions. So honestly, it might be kind of even at this point. If anything, perhaps this should just give our racers the notice: ignore your Earth Crystal. It's probably just the Magma Key at the end. It will be a waste of time. So we'll see how much people pay attention to that, because this definitely tells us that it is either Flame Dog Chest or Flame Dog Chest, Zot Boss, or whatever lies beyond those 2.
Yeah, somewhere along the way, I mean, it could be Twin Harp into that. I mean, whatever fetch quest items that we might possibly get will result in that. That's actually super interesting.
But on the flip side of things, the seed could choose to be even meaner, and it could be, say, that Zot gives us the Baron Key, and then the Baron main boss fight would give you the magma key, and then the Odin spot has our crystal. So it could be one where this tells our racers don't go there, when it just so happens you still needed to go there anyway. But to double down on making these fights a waste of time, that is a juicy troll. Well done, Natara.
Yeah. I mean, and let's think of it this way. We also don't know who our 5th character is, and Earth Crystal gives us access to 2 character spots. So there's a increased likelihood that one of our missing characters is going to be there at the Earth Crystal. I don't know. That just seems like it'd be super juicy at this point in time, especially knowing that it's Golbez. But man, I mean, this is layers upon layers upon layers of wonderful, juicy complexity, and everyone's kind of beating their heads against the same thing. It looks like Baka and Dusty are kind of in a good spot on Asura, where they're walled up and they're just going to town. Won't be too overly difficult of a fight, but as you mentioned earlier, you know, it's just a long fight. It's not tough, it's long.
Well, luckily, I can now confirm that Sid is definitely using either an Elven Bow or Mute Arrows, not the Charm one that's just strong against Giants, because Sid is totally doing quad damage to Asura, doing about 2,600 a hit. Quake Kid's doing about 2,200 per Quake. I don't think even without that Adamant armor, Baka Shinobi is going to make it through here just fine. And of course, Dusty, having the Adamant, as long as he keeps the Reflex up on Asura, similarly won't have any difficulty. Jack confirming it is Mute Arrows. Excellent, excellent. So yeah, Mute Arrows plus an Artemis Bow, quadruple damage to mage types. This fight is not nearly as bad as it could be. Again, especially since Baka Shinobi did not get that Adamant armor that our other 3 featured racers have. I do like, by the way, Vitasia, how neck and neck and neck and neck all 4 of our racers are diving down here. It's pretty cool to see.
Yep, they're all right there. Baka, though, looks to be the first one through. Does get through Asura. Be interesting to see where he ends up going next. We have a few different options. You know, a lot of people want to peek that first character that's in Dwarf Castle. We have the tower key that is super attractive, plus the trap treasure chest up on the lower Babel. So we have a few different options, and we can go a lot of different places.
And even beyond that, it gets even trickier, because there are 2 completely free key item checks that you can make now that don't require fighting a single battle. Oh, and it's Vanilla Lugay, by the way, up in the spot on the lower tower. Baka Shinobi giving us our peek there. Of course, the Vanilla Rat Tail chest in Feymarch is free for the taking. And if you go talk to Yang in Sylph Cave, then go talk to Sheila back in Fabul, you can get a freebie there, which may be appealing to Baka Shinobi. He may think my team is definitely strong enough to take down that Dark Knight now. Maybe Baka will route back and do that and get rewarded with his Adamant armor for the trouble.
It'd be interesting. I know some people, especially in the K3 and K4 flags, try to put off going into the Sylph Cave where Young is hanging out until they have a white mage who can cast Float. Because there are, what, 7 trap treasure chests in that cave? Mm-hmm. So it's a very dense location. So you try to kind of route all that together if you possibly can, but that can be really rough with this particular team, especially since we're without a white mage right now.
Exactly. I was going to say white mage. What's a white mage? I don't think I've heard of this class. Not tonight, at least. Luckily, though, Baka Shinobi did just reveal Cure 3s are for Cell and Tamra. So even if we don't end up with a white mage, we have our healing options. But to have to go through... And incidentally, the reason Sylph Cave is nasty without Float is the same reason Feymarch Cave is a little annoying without Float. Dusty here walking on these 50 HP damage tiles. A whole bunch of them in Sylph Cave as well. If we have to go to Sylph Cave without a white mage, we're going to see our runners burning through stacks and stacks and stacks of Cure 2s and Cure 3s.
And Dusty finding another pass. There are 3 passes hidden in the world. We found 2 of them already.
We should do a tic-tac-toe variant. First player to find all 3 passes wins.
3 passes forge the crystal if you don't find the crystal normally.
Dusty, of course, wisely healing up before checking any more trap chests. Even with the adamant armor, you don't want to go into one of these fights at 1 HP per character.
There's our trap chest. And 5 warriors. Again, weak to Hourglass, you're going to treat these similarly, but they still hit pretty hard.
They do, but that adamant armor on Palom, we have a swing and a miss, a swing and a miss. They're not going to do any appreciable damage to the kid. One thing people may be asking, by the way, is, wait, didn't we just stop them? Why are they still attacking? If monsters have their attack already queued up, you can stop them, and they'll still get that one good hit in before being frozen in time, and you have free reign to beat them however you wish. But, ooh, Bahamut's summon for Dusty's trouble. If our 5th character does end up being Rydia, that is, of course, her strongest, most damaging summon. I mean, she's not really the character you want to see here. I would probably rather have found an Asura summon there, just because you already have great DPS. She can learn Nuke, even if you have to grind her a long ways, but if she has Asura, you at least have that great source of multi-target healing for your party, which we are still sorely lacking.
Yeah, we're still... Nothing is really going our guys' way in terms of party composition. We have the Deeps, and the Deeps is very strong with this particular team, even with an Edward. But my goodness, I mean, it's just so difficult. There's the Twin Hawk.
All right, well, it would not surprise me to see a lovely little loop through Troya, because you can do kind of 2 checks at once there, land there once, go to Dark Elf Cave, Cave Magnus, and then come back and clean out the tower. And also, do it for the fans, Dusty. Come on, dude.
Yeah, we have, if this is your first time ever seeing Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, there is one of the many, many Easter eggs that are programmed into this game once we get over into Magnus Cave. We can see some of the long-timers in the chat hyping up the music. We'll get there. I'm sure we...
Ooh, by the way, Bacchus Wines and Illusions, both for Cell and Feymarch. 2 excellent items, especially on N2. Well, Bacchus Wine's great on any flag set. Auto-cast Berserk on a character's self. The Illusion can be really helpful. It casts Blink on a character. Again, self-targeting. And if you can't freeze physical bosses, especially some of the more cheesable ones, you can have at least 2 free swings from them before your character starts taking real damage. So... another great find in these S2 shops.
So what we see Dusty doing is healing up and preparing to check these 2 bosses that are in the Feymarch, normally where you would fight the vanilla Asura and Leviathan spots. Now, if we're not going to have any quote-unquote free bosses, but if we have the ability to beat them, okay, so we can absolutely use Hourglasses on the Baron guards right here.
Oh! Nope, no. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, but even these puny little Kaipo guards get the boss bit. However, still relatively not too painful, and they are very low HP, so Dusty may still be able to get through them. I didn't mean to cut you off, but just for your own sake, Mutasia, because you're gonna become a more regular racer as well with that big tournament coming up in February. I trust, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe.
Just watch out for that N2 flag. If it's not in a trap chest, you're going the long haul. Of course, the retreat script is still there. That's not you it still has the boss bit. And look at that ample reward.
Star Veil. That's so good.
That's 3,000 GP that Dusty won't have to spend, I guess.
He's like, thanks for that. I'm exiting out. He's like, I'm taking my ball and going home.
It is surprising me that he's not willing to go for the Antlion spot. Have we seen... I'm guessing we've not seen Silkwebs for Cell, have we?
No, I think we've seen Silkwebs. I can almost promise we've seen Silkwebs somewhere.
Gotcha, because in that case, Dusty's team with that adamant armor, more than capable of handling that Antlion fight. It will take a little while. It has like 35,000 HP, but the kid with the adamant armor in the back row should only be taking 1 damage at a time and dishing it back out. But I can see there's always the trade-off. It's, I can do this fight, but should I do this fight? How long will it take me? How many resources will it consume? How should I actually balance my my efforts, especially on a K3 seed?
So we do have a little bit of route divergence going on right now. While Dusty Griff is climbing the tower with those treasure chests that are located there, we do Smepty is actually, he backed out of the Tower of Babel and is actually climbing Tower of Zot right now. So he's doing the treasure chest checks for Flame Dog and the boss here.
I mean, it makes sense. This is something that you can realize with that B1 flag, knowing, wait, there's another way underground. I can do this and go ahead and get a character. I may get another important item. It's a little bit of a hike, but, I mean, this could give him advanced knowledge that none of our other racers will have. And there were Silk Webs for Sel and Fabul, according to our tracker tonight, Mr. Ubik. Thank you, Mr. Ubik. So, yeah. Antlion, not nearly as scary, but at the same time, it is more of a speed interest than a capability interest.
Absolutely. So Dusty checking these trap chests, and it does look like Baka is also checking these trap chests. Finds crystal armor.
Did you? Sorry, I was applauding out of reflex action. It was Magma Key in the Flame Dog chest. So any racer of our, how many entrants do we have tonight? Anyone who decided to make the early Flame Dog check gets amply rewarded. Just by a landslide tonight. Oh my goodness.
I'm trying to back out to see how many people we actually have. I think we're north of 20 for our community race in this one. So yeah, and you know, there's someone who did. At least one person made the low percent.
Oh, and let's think. The only thing, although here's the dilemma again, Earth Crystal was in Cave Eblin, so if Earth Crystal turns out to be required, anyone who only did Flame Dog chests will end up being punished as well. So this seed is just waiting with all these pitfalls, no matter which route you choose.
And we have the karate fight as our first fight for Smepty over here. Shouldn't be too difficult of a problem. Our levels are doing absolutely amazing. I still haven't seen anything on Baka or Dusty Griff's side as we're doing these trap chests that make me think, you know, these major value right now.
Well, Baka Shinobi did, like, first of all, like you mentioned a minute ago, I would not be doing Sylph Cave right now. Sylph Cave is the biggest gamble you can make right now. No one's going to want to do it without a white mage, and Baka's doing it. And he did just get the Baron key, which I can't see any other racer getting this for quite some time. Because, again, without a white mage, I'm going there last. That's just me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Without a white mage, I mean, Edward on the floor is funny and all, but funny doesn't heal your characters. So
I will point out that in addition to that, Baka Shinobi's the one racer without the adamant armor, so that's an even huger risk here. If he pulls this off, if this lets him, you know, kind of come from behind, not having that armor, hats off to Baka Shinobi. Really excited about this play, whether it pays off or not.
Meanwhile, Smepty finds our fifth and final character. It is Rydia. We are white mageless for the entire thing.
Oh, that... I wonder, again, I've not paid full attention to each and every item we picked up in these T4 chests, but, if anyone threw away or sold an Asura summon, they are kicking themselves in the butt right now. Holy crap.
Yeah, and Smepty's like, okay, we're going Stardust Rod. I mean, yeah, you got to do whatever you can. Oh, this is just kind of a rough spot for all of these runners to be in. This is going to really separate a lot of people. We're going to have a lot of really long and varied times, I think, when we complete this, because there's a lot of people who aren't used to fighting Zeramus without a white mage, especially in a race environment.
Absolutely, and also for people who recently joined the community and weren't really following it during the Highway to the Zema Zone League we had this past summer and fall, they may not be aware of that particular C3-S2 combo that requires, there will be Cure 3s for Cell, get your chemists going, Yang and Sid will both have a ton of HP, they can keep people going.
I think we can all agree, though, that Edward is going to be taking a nap with this setup almost for the entirety of the Zero Miss fight.
I mean, even that I'm not sure about, because we have seen Artemis bows. It may be that we even need his levels or even his DPS, and if all else fails, you can grind this team up to high levels, and around the 60s, Edward starts taking off. Like, he ends up a beast in HP and especially in agility. But with no white mage, it's very possible we end up seeing some people saying, nope, I'm out. I'm good. You win, Free Enterprise. You win. If only Wells were here, he'd be very excited over those potential impending victories for the game.
Yeah, we're just kind of marking off tally marks to see how many people will be beaten by the game. Yeah. Meanwhile, Smepty does defeat Leviathan there, manages to keep Rydia alive. Big Dunka is also up in Zot right now, looks like. So he will be the second one to get his...
And you know, honestly, I kind of like this, because K3 adds such variance to the game that whenever our racers find the Darkness Crystal and the Crystal Crystal, they'll be like, oh, I could have checked that then. Oh, if only I'd gone there. But for a lot of racers, the rudeness of this party composition is going to help them overcome any wayward decisions or pathing they take throughout the middle game of the seed. So I don't hate it. And meanwhile, Smapey getting a second adamant armor. Baka Shinobi looking to get his first one over here in Fabul coming back. So we're at least going to have 2 adamant armors for the final fight as well. That also forgives a rude C3 party composition. Dusty getting rewarded with the pan for coming up the Tower of Babel before going to Sylph Cave. This will save him a loop around, especially if Sheila has the goods, which she is wont to do, just by virtue of having 2 key item, potential key item locations in her tower.
Yep. In the meantime, I mean, Dusty's doing his save right now. Doing well. Baka, made very, very quick work of that Dark Knight Cecil at decent level.
He got his revenge upon Cane Man. I'm sure he's been looking forward to coming back here for a while.
All right, so Sheila 1 is going to reveal the goods for Baka. It is Sand.
I mean, Baka is well on his way to hitting 10 key items, which is great. That will give him a double XP going forward. The pass doesn't count as 1 on the P2 flag, but still, having that double XP is really great to have. If you have Edward and Rydia in your party notably, since they need levels and Rydia has a very bad XP curve. So the sooner you can get that doubling going on, the better off you are. Which I wonder if Baka may, after, of course, getting this adamant armor, chase that Baron key. I would think no one else is checking chests in Sylph Cave on their way down. That place sucks. Let me go see if I can get rewarded for my gamble.
It seems like it'd be a logical play at that point. And there's one thing that you want to do when you're in any sort of randomizer is follow your gambles. At some point, if you backtrack and you play it safe, and you'll end up clearing everything. If you make a gamble, stick with the gamble, keep going with the gamble. Because if you lose a match because of a gamble, so what?
But if you win it by a landslide because of the gamble, you get to feel so good, feels so nice.
It does feel good.
Dunka getting rewarded with his second adamant armor as well. Going to have a very well-equipped team going forward. Appears Dusty had not cleared quite all the trap chests on his way up. There are 4 alerts in Lower Babel. Each one summons a different monster. Nagas, Flame Dogs, Chimera, and Stone Men. So plenty variety of here if you don't one-shot them. A little bonus XP, I suppose. Not getting heavily rewarded yet, though. Koji the Cow asking, who is winning the race? So in the middle game of these, it can be kind of hard to tell. There are plenty of places our racers can check. Notably, at this point, I'd say Dusty Griff and Baka Shinobi are probably ahead of the curve a little bit. They have checked places no one else has, and they are proceeding to check places no one else has. So they're giving us our new information, and either one of them could very quickly show us the goods.
So Dusty Griff is going to show us at least one key item here, but more importantly, because chat loves the memes, one of the Easter eggs, just a Blizzard Spear for Dusty Griff. Baka Shinobi approaching the Cave Magnus Dark Elf fight. We're getting us some nasty music.
Indeed. By the way, Dusty, getting nothing else of value from those 6 checks in Lower Babel, immediately chasing that pan, saying, oh god, I just wasted 8 minutes. If the pan doesn't, like, chasing that gamble, saying, this is the only thing I was rewarded with, let me see if I actually get something for my troubles. Koji, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
He's right. Your voice is very sexy. Anyway.
That's so weird. I hated my voice growing up, and now that I do a whole bunch of this, I get compliments, and I don't know how to take them. I just incessant blushing, Vitasia. That's how I live my life.
Oh, that's all we need. But soon, Edward is doing his most important thing in the entire game.
Oh, giving us a rousing rendition of Name That Video Game tune.
Cian's theme from Final Fantasy VI.
Yup. A moment, sirs. It's Mr. Thal's music.
Thou.
But yeah, Nitsky, Nitsky, of course, very great member of our community, asking about the flags in the middle. They represent all the settings. Ooh. Oh, plague fight here. I do know that Baka Shinobi is equipped with the Kamikaze item, which can be very great in this fight. Lets you insta-kill one of your own characters, and then if you can pick them back up, you'll reset this counter as soon as Plague gets a turn. But with Sid doing that kind of damage, not even necessary.
Nope, not at all. And I was wrong. It was the Figaro theme. It wasn't Cian's theme. I'm bad.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm bad too then. I was right there with you. So, whoopsie.
Oh, wow!
Oh my goodness, the music playing off. Oh, you gotta play to the fans, people. You gotta play to the fans.
Let this be a lesson to anyone who's possibly watching this on Restream or when you come back and watch this. Playing to the audience, playing to the memes absolutely pays off, and it will never hurt you in any way.
Except all the times that it does. So here's one thing. So Baka Shinobi probably went there first instead of Baron Key, because you can do a nice little route. You can go into Cave Magnus, you can head up Tower of Zot with your Earth Crystal, and that puts you out in front of Baron Castle. And it looks like that's exactly what he's doing. The question is, after, because he'll want his 5th character, he wants the loot in the basement. Oh, holy crap, he's going to raid this treasury. After that, will he do Baron Castle with that key he got? Which you have to think no one else is getting that key. Or will he head to the moon? At this point, our crystal, which we have to fight Zeromus, transform him into something we can beat up, can be anywhere. So we have to take these risks. Do you think you got that Darkness Crystal early and going to the moon's the right play? Or do you think that Baron Key you got that no one else got in all likelihood is your best option? So I'm really excited to see what Baka Shinobi chooses in a minute.
Yeah, it'll be super interesting. Dusty is going to be picking up his Darkness Crystal. I would venture to guess between these two runners, Dusty is more likely to go ahead and go up to the moon, knowing, and I've played a lot of 2v2 with Baka Shinobi. I'm used to his style. I think he's going to follow that Baron Key, honestly, because he knows no one else went there, especially with no white mage.
I can see that. Although it wouldn't surprise me if Dusty Griff follows up the Tower of Zot as well, because, again, we're already parked here. Dusty Griff still needs 2 characters. He never picked up that Edward, and if he goes up the tower, he will get well, apparently, unfortunately for him, is Edward, as well as Rydia, which he has that Bahamut summon in his inventory. So he has a lot of value waiting for him up in Tower of Zod. And I didn't even mention the Adamant Armor yet. Oh my goodness. If he wants to go to the moon, it will serve him well to head up this tower first.
Meanwhile, Big Dunka has been doing kind of a grind over here. Set up, make some scrambled eggs. If you use the Siren on that little peninsula, it's a relatively easy fight for quite a bit of experience that you can use coffins on. But he kept his Sid dead through most of it. Makes me think he's kind of happy with Sid's level and wants to keep him that way for the duration of the game.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, in case people are curious, like, why would you leave any character dead? Aren't more levels better just the further you go? And not necessarily. It turns out that, again, with this fairly early implementation of the ATB system, everyone's agility... Oh, enjoy your Figaro music. Once again, we're going to have probably 4 doses of this, unless we find the crystal somewhere on Earth. But yeah, at the start of a fight, at least in the, well, until the beta comes out, mind you, the the agility of the ATB tick rate of every party member and every enemy on the field is determined based on that of either Cecil, if he's in your party, and if not, it's a hierarchy based on mostly middle slot. So, by purposely keeping a really slow or fast character in your middle slot, you can either slow monsters down or speed your party up. And keeping Sid dead indicates to me that Dunka intends to use him to speed up his party later by keeping that middle spot slow. Zubmud, the beta is in public testing. It is not in release form yet, so we are still using the 0.2 version for the community races until then. Nitsky, it's not 2v2. People aren't making that Flame Dog play. Smapey actually... This happened right before you got here, Nitsky. Smapey had the presence of mind to see Golbez in Lower Babel, or, pardon me, Upper Babel, and know, there's another path to the underworld. I'm out of here. And came back up.
Yeah, it was a very heads-up play to be able to do that at that point in time. And, you know, so it took us a second to realize it's like, oh, wait, that's Golbez. And it was in the King and Queen of Baron spot. It wasn't even in the Rubicante spot. So you had to go all the way, and we're almost there before you realized.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize it myself, because we have the N2 flag on, which is a little rude, P2 flag, which I think is a little rude, K3 flag, very rude, but turns out we don't have the B2 flag on, so we still have boss gating, we don't have to worry about certain fights preventing us from proceeding, and that's one of them. Excellent catch by Vitasia. Well done, sir.
I pretend like I know what I'm talking about on occasion.
That's all I do. I pretend I'm decent at this game. I pretend I know what I'm talking about. I don't pretend that I'm having a good time though. Glad to be working with you.
In the meantime, looks like Smepty is finishing up his lower tower of Babel at this point in time. Dusty Griff is starting his Zot. Baka is finishing his Zot. And Dunka is in the Fame March, just picked up his Twin Harp. We'll see if Dunka ends up doing any of these other bosses. We did see one runner go ahead and beat up on the Kaipo guards that are right there. Still nothing from Antlion, who's right there, which wouldn't be overly difficult, especially with, I mean, we have 2 Adamant Armors in play right now.
Well, I don't think Dunka's done Tower of Zot yet, so he's lacking in that regard. He should only have the 1. But still, even with just 1 Adamant Armor, that fight's very doable. But, still a little time consuming. It has a lot more HP there than you'd think, especially compared to the Asura spot. Yeah. About 35,000 versus 23,000. So, more than a 50% increase. So, you do Asura spot, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad, and then you're at why? Why isn't this dying? Why isn't this dying? Why are you still alive? I'm out of MP.
Oh, and Dunka's actually going for another of these low percent plays, going into the Dwarf Castle, which 2 bosses plus a character. He hasn't. I don't think Dunka has done his Earth Crystal check yet, so that might be his final character here. But we do have a lunar boss back here.
Ooh. Well, we've not seen Lunar Dragons yet, we've not seen Ogopogo, and we have not seen Wyvern. So, oh, there it is. We're not going to have an opening Mega Nuke. That W1 flag prevents it, but that does mean, well, that means that Starville's not going to be that helpful, Dunka. But it does mean that this jerk is going to start doing nukes in a hurry, and you don't get the reflected damage to him.
Well, here's the thing. He does have a scripted part, and you're about to see this here with Big Dunka. If you use Bahamut and it doesn't kill him, he will counter with Mega Nuke, but you can reflect it with Edward.
That is an excellent strat. I like using it as well, especially if it's a very fast spot to where you don't think you're going to be able to keep lifing up your party members as fast as he knocks you down. And also, it's a good bit of swag. Dunka giving us a little swag strat against Wyvern. I like it. I like it.
Meanwhile, we have the actual Dark Elf is in Golbez's spot and Rydia. So you can get Rydia either from the Earth Crystal or the other way, and Rydia all grows up.
And I believe I misspoke. Apparently Dunka had indeed done gotten that second adamant already earlier. Because notably, 2 of his characters just shrugged off that Mega Nuke like it was nothing. Very impressive indeed. So Bakashobi is chasing that Baron Crystal now, following that little loop he set up for himself. Dusty Griff didn't pick up that chest when he went through Sylph Cave. So Dusty now has a big question to ask himself: what path to pursue? 2 adamant armors, a power robe. Would love to see an Asura summon. If not, you're going to need to buy a huge stack of oh, pardon me, he's not on this boss yet. He's nearly to that second adamant armor. Do you continue pursuing things on Earth, or are you going to chase that moon, Dusty? What you going to do?
You know what? At this point, chasing the moon sounds like a relatively good idea. Baka Shinobi is right here in Baron Castle now. Looks like it's a freebie fight Water Hag. Now, it's not a 3-hit fight this.
Oh yeah, you have to chew through all those HP. Well, if he hits it hard enough, it might still be 3. We'll have to see how much DPS he's got going on. Whew. I'm excited to see where people diverge from here. Smatey is looking to do a full clear of the Sylph Cave, probably thinking, everyone's avoiding it, I won't do that. But if the only real payoff is that Baron Key, Baka Shinobi's on top of you right here, Smatey. He's ahead of the curve.
It's worth noting, none of our runners actually know what each other are doing. So they're in their own little isolation chamber. So, I mean, Smithy might very well be thinking this is a great play for him. And, you know, yet to know if it's going to pay out here. We'll figure out once Baka Shinobi finishes things up.
That's true. That's true. Oh yeah, Supremacy in chat pointing out that Baka Shinobi did just try to hit Water Hag with the Chocobo summon. Not gonna give you your 3rd hit on Water Hag with the N2 flag on, but cleans up the fight pretty efficiently anyway. And there's that second adamant for Dusty Griff. Ooh, free fight. Well, again, it's N2. No fight is truly free, but a pretty easy group of Dark Imps on the Barren Throne. I like to imagine that the Dark Imps are actually fairly short, so it's basically the whole 3 kids in a trench coat trying to sneak into an R-rated film. Just sitting there on the throne wearing the crown together.
That's a little rude, but yeah. So it was interesting. Big Dunka did end up picking up the rat tail from that dip into Dwarf Castle. So that's another item that'd be really interesting to check before too long. He may not do it immediately. Dusty, though, is turning in this darkness crystal. He's going to the moon.
Zoom pow, straight to the moon. And Smatey, by the way, just got the package from a trap chest there in the Sylph Cave, which, you know who you've not seen yet.
No.
Oh, we've not seen the Mist Dragon.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So imagine a Mist Dragon in the Kaipo spot, the Kaipo guard spot, guarding our crystal.
That would be rude.
That would be so rude. And Natara already did a little bit with the seed she rolled for us tonight. So, I want it to get worse. I want it to get so much worse. Ooh, what was that Baron Pod item? I missed it.
I did not see either.
Ah, gotcha. And Supremacy, I think he only did the south loop. I think he went south on his way to the Sylphs and fought stuff along the way. Ah, just a light sword. Thank you, Ground Flyer. Much appreciated. Oh, and Mr. Ubik, I see lightsaber as well. Thank you.
And Dusty Griff, remembering, is going to park in front of the Crystal Tower, and then they realized, oh wait, there is a trap chest for these hair dryers that are here in the Lunar Path. So usually a good idea to go ahead and snag this before you dive in here, because it's a little out of the way otherwise.
Yeah, this is a very easy one to overlook as well. It's one that people, if they've not played vanilla Final Fantasy IV and they're doing a seed that does have trap chest spots, easiest one in the game to overlook because it's so lonesome here all by itself. And yeah, and then in addition to that, one of the conveniences of the Free Enterprise Randomizer is you can now land the whale pretty much anywhere on the moon. You're not going to be blocked off by the rocks and the craters. Very easy to forget this path is even here. Baka Shinobi, by the way, resetting out of the gauntlet fight at Odin. Ooh, if it's there, oh my goodness. You can't use hourglasses because it's a boss fight. And 16 enemies to go through.
Yeah, but all that HP is really spread out. So it might be doable.
Oh, it's definitely doable. And again, we've talked about following your gambles. And Baka Shinobi was our first racer to get that Baron key, and is now sadly going somewhere we know will not pay off for him. So if he had a chance with the crystal being at that gauntlet, it's slowly draining away for each second he spends in this tower. Smavety may end up, and of course Big Dunka also in Tower of Zot. Regrettably, 6 relatively easy checks. We got an early tower key. None of it's any good to us. So nope. Smavety may have the right call, full cleaning Sylph Cave, and Dusty Griff's going to give us some moon action. I'm excited.
How sad is it that we found that life staff so early in Artemis in the Antlion Cave, and it's just been sitting there.
Well, at least most of our characters now know that's actually a little interesting. I mean, Rydia can equip it as long as you don't do Dwarf Castle. And did Big Dunka ever turn in that rat tail?
No, Dunka has not turned in that rat tail yet. I've been watching him, waiting for him to turn that in. I think that could be significant once he does.
Yeah, because, well, he's the only one who can no longer equip the life staff. Technically, all our other racers can still throw it on Baby Rydia. I guess you can power up those Cure 1 spells if you really want to. So, Big Dunka, having lost the ability to equip it, only gaining that rat tail, if it's behind there and he keeps putting it off, he'll be kicking himself as well. That's one reason I do love to commentate K3 rather than play K3 Vitasia, because there's so many opportunities to kick yourself, and I just get bruised after a while, so I'm good.
See, and I personally really enjoy just the increased randomization, because I'm such a bad runner normally. It's the only way I can win, so...
It just takes practice, my friend. Just some practice, that's all. Zudmud putting out in chat that was an odd-looking Luge. Yeah, there are a few spots in the game, notably, it seems, anywhere with the Crystal floor or the Tower of Zot and Tower of Babel floors, that palettes get a little wonky. If you even go and replay the vanilla game, which I just did recently, trying to learn some of the vanilla runs, Mylon has a red robe in his cutscene in the tower, and then he's purple when you encounter him later on Ordeals, and then he's red again when you fight him at the Giant of Babel. Just pick an outfit and stick with it, dude. Pretend you're on The Simpsons.
Meanwhile, Dusty Griff it looks like he's heading back. He's going to start, he's not opening any chests because I don't know if he's comfortable with his levels. What he'll likely do is do maybe a little bit of a King Ryu grind. or save while he's back here. So just in case something disastrous happens, he's right back here.
Oh yeah. I don't think we saw him do a single egg above ground. So if he stops right here, nope, he didn't. He does not intend to grind. He intends to save and possibly go straight for some of these Lunar Deus checks.
I mean, that would be super interesting. Looks like he's in his... Rydia's at 28, so, late 20s, early 30s for those levels. These could be rough fights depending on what we end up finding here.
Oh, he's saving now. He is going to do a little grind before checking them. He just wanted to go ahead and save point just in case things go terribly wrong. Which, come on, Dusty, you got 2 adamant armors. How bad can it be?
And hourglasses. I mean, come on. Yeah, and Ben, you're pointing out in chat. Yeah, Dusty's menuing is a sight to behold.
Oh yeah, I felt a little weird devoting something as like it saves so much time over the course of the run. It's knowing where your abilities are, whether you're doing it with J items and J abilities on, or where your spells are located in your menu, being ready to know my menu is about to open, and just shaving off those seconds. It may seem that, that doesn't add so much over the run. Surely it's, more where you go. But here's the thing. In certain fights, all of a sudden, that menuing and getting into those menus quickly and efficiently freezes your enemy's ATB while you're in the menu. So if you are ready to go at any given point, you're going to save so much time over the course of your run, not just because of the seconds you save in the menu, but also because of all the attacks that your enemies aren't taking on you.
Bahamut? Okay.
Easy peasy, I dare say. The Dusty, how many of those Star Bells you have? I know you got 1 for beating up the Kaipo guards in Feymarch. Wouldn't it be funny if he ended up running out of Star Bells this fight, and it was the one in that fight that saved the day?
Oh my god.
You better start popping them though. This Dragon Lord is moving quickly.
Yes, and this
3.
is...
Alright, using him on his 2 black mages makes sense. Yeah. The other 3 characters are all going to take a nice little nap here, and I bet he's just going to let those 2 continue pumping out the damage for the rest of this fight. He may think, I want XP on a character and throw a life potion. But it looks like he may just quack and Bahamut his way to victory. You can get your XP elsewhere. Groundflyer, I don't know about that. The Antlion spot could still be a huge delay for a racer. The Gauntlet spot at Odin could still be really rude. And of course, if Mist Dragon is lying behind that package, another great spot no one's going to check. So there are plenty of trolls that would keep someone from dot-dunning.
We've heard it mentioned a couple times in chat. We haven't seen it on any public races, I don't think, but the dream of the crystal being on Rydia's mother behind a D-Mist in the CPU fight on the Giant of Babel, which is no reason to go into at this point. I mean, that dream can still happen. And there's the Luca key.
Oh, that's a cruel item to see. For what it's worth, there was it was a pickup race on SRL, and it was the first time that I ever actually won a race against some of the greats of Free Enterprise, where it was just that full cleared Earth. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no crystal. If it was on the moon, people would be done by now, right? And I went straight to the Giant, and sure enough, Mist Dragon at CPU, metagaming won me the day. And since then, I've been 100% a proponent of metagaming based on time left in the race, or time elapsed in the race, and how people are doing. Sadly, though, there's our D-Mist.
D-Mist on the Plague spot. So he punches kind of.
Yeah, but Dusty's got 2 adamant armors on. He won't hit anyone else nearly that hard. Or she.
It's funny how everyone presumes that the Miss Dragon is a woman, is a girl, because a mother summons it and then Lydia summons it.
You know, that's true. I mean, I mix it up back and forth. Who knows? Because I mean, we have no like Titan, Shiva. You know, all those others don't necessarily match the gender of the summoner. So Miss Dragon, who knows?
Did you just assume its gender?
No, don't do that. Come on, please. Please don't.
Yeah, I don't know where to go from there. So, Smepty is taking on that Antlion.
Hey, bold move. I do like, my favorite thing there, Dusty Griff doing one of the best things you can do while waiting on the Mist Dragon to transform, and that is menuing in rhythm with the music, which is the best thing.
And also, there's the crystal, never mind.
Wow, you don't even have to go back to Iridium for it. Big Dunk only getting a cross for the Rat Tail turn-in. Yeah, for all those things that are going to cause curse on us. But Dusty Griff is in go mode, only needs levels at this point. My question now is, does he even come back to the Earth, or does he just go grind gold dragons and walk from here? We don't have an exit source, I think. Oh, he has three.
Yeah, but I think at this point you just do it and go. There's no point in...
Ooh! Okay, there's two dilemmas with that, though. One, he only has a handful of Cure 3s. Dusty does not have the Asura summon, so any healing he does has to be done with items, and Cure 2s don't usually cut it in the fight. So I bet he does grind here, but then goes back to Earth, finds Cure 3s in Tomra, and then uses the pass, of which I think he found 2, right, to come back up.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Encore number 2, Big Dunka is going to be showing us some of that nasty music.
Getting a nice little third dose of it. Only Adamant behind that. And so without the V1 flag being active, Adamant is only good for 1, increasing your key item count, 2, being turned into an Excalibur. And how many members of this team can use an Excalibur, Vitasia?
Hang on, let me count. I want to make sure I get all these down. None, absolutely none can.
So yeah, not what you want to find there. Great, again, bold risk, being like, oh, rude boss, I can take him, but not doing it.
All right, so in the meanwhile, Big Dunka on that fight. Smepty flying. Where is Smepty going to go? Either way, Dusty Griff, all eyes on Dusty Griff right now. At 130, he's doing reasonably well for a C3, K3 seed, moving very, very quickly. More importantly, no other runner has finished yet. It might be Dusty Griff's race to lose at this point, guys.
I mean, no one's done yet. That is a popular dive on the moon. People, again, and this may just be how much 2v2 K4 I've been doing. It feels like the Lunar Dea spots are very heavily weighted. So he may not be the only one who made that dive. We'll have to see. We have plenty of great racers in this race who aren't on the featured restream, many of whom also like to make that kind of dive. Question is, were they also willing to make the Twin Heart play? Are they comfortable with this team? Did one of them happen to open a chest that had an Asura summon in it to let them do certain strats that the other racers can't? A lot will determine who finishes this race first. But Dusty definitely in the lead of our featured restreamers.
Absolutely. I think that's the most difficult thing to try to predict at this point in time. It's not necessarily the difficulty of where the crystal was. As you mentioned, it's a very almost automatically checked spot. It's, will the party be able to survive Zero Mist? Because really, you don't have a whole lot of DPS potential with Sid and Edward as they're set up right now. Yang, once he gets the levels, can put out some DPS once he gets going. Rydia and Palom can, but I mean, it really starts getting into some questionable territory. You can't really out DPS the big bangs with this part.
Well, one thing you can do, and this is actually the best feature of having both Rydia and Palom, sadly no Fu, is that you grind enough, they will both learn Nuke. Nuke is a very fast casting spell, does tons of damage. We have two great targets to throw our Starveils on, because if things go awry, well, first of all, they can probably survive. Yang will probably be able to survive two unnerfed Big Bangs just naturally, even if we don't nerf a single one. But I think Dusty's going to do reflect strats here. Very little doubt in my mind. He's going to get Rydia up to Nuke. He's going to take this team to the fight. Yang is just going to throw Cure 3s and dress himself up in Starveils, and we're going to see Nuke, 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 Nuke coming from our two youngest black mages. This guy, I thought the same, but what may have happened is that he may have looked at Edward's stats at some point and seen, oh, Edward's level 30? He's too fast already. I gotta put Sid to sleep as well. That's my theory, at least. We'll know when he eventually goes into his status screen.
So I don't know if I've ever counted, and I know it's based mostly on equipment and things like that, but presume you put your adamants on both Rydia and Palom because you need them to be doing the most DPS if you're using Nuke and Reflect strats. Mm-hmm. Ballpark it for me. About how many nukes reflected are we looking at before Zeromus is dead?
Oh, okay. Well, if you have... Well, first of all, did we find a second Stardust rod as well?
Yeah, I don't know if we went that far or not.
Okay, well, between the levels, the Adamant Armor, and some combination of Stardust and Charm Rods, it will take, let's see, it's 61,000, and we're doing just 1 point shy of 10,000 a swing, so it'll take 7 reflected nukes. If you take a couple of pot shots with Yang early in the routine, it should only take 6. So 3 per kid, and ta-da, you're all good. And Dusty looks like he's ready. Did he learn Nuke on that Rydia with that final dragon fight, or did I miss it?
I think he did. I mean, I would assume that he wouldn't be leaving the moon if he hadn't.
Also true. In which case, he appears to be just checking item shops, I would wager. I'm guessing he didn't go by Tomra earlier. He pretty much landed and went straight to tower. Wait, no, he actually did. He went through Feymarch, so... Checking here. Nope. All right, you gonna go to Tomra? But yeah, he probably won't even need to throw a Cure 3 if he does this fight well. Adamant Armors on both Rydia and Palom with a nice, slow Sid anchor in the middle means that you throw that Silk Web, you get your Reflect going. You will eat the first Big Bang. It should be nerfed. You should be fine, especially wearing Adamant Armor. And then 6 nukes and you're done, especially if Yang gets those 2 punches off.
Absolutely. He finds his Cure 3s and he is off to the races at 134. Still no one has completed this race. I do believe Dusty Griff is going to be on his way to his Z-Man fight, which brings us to our second Easter egg here before too long, doesn't it, Inva?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and also, so you say Z-Man, because of course, great member of the randomizer communities in general, Z-Man, with all the letters that follow, all the numbers that follow his name. I'm like, why are we beating up Z-Man? I don't want to beat up Z-Man. Oh, Zeromus. Yes, we can go beat up Zeromus every day of the week. And I think I pretty much do now that I actually think about it. But yeah, one of the best additions is that Z flag there at the end of our flag chain. It is the Zeromus flag, and community member and free workshop admin Scala Kitty has done. Board did a smaller portion, but Scala has put in tons of work to add a whole bunch of custom sprites to the game from pretty much any video game you can think of. If you've submitted it, she's probably done her best to get it included, and there's going to be even more coming after the beta goes into full release, I believe. And that gives us an all-important question that we ask every community race. You want to ask it, Matasha?
Oh, that's fine. Whose butt we gonna kick today?
Whose butt? Whose booty? Show us the booty. Let's kick that butt. Any series you're rooting for a villain from tonight?
You know, I really enjoy just the random internet meme bosses from time to time. So I think I'd like to see that this time.
Well, you know, with Smash Brothers being out for a couple weeks now, I think I'm gonna go really old school. I'm gonna go for the I think I'm gonna go for arcade style Donkey Kong. That's who I'd like to see here. Give me some DK-mas.
All right, well, here we go. Dusty Griff, as we said, is set up very, very nicely for this fight. And we will see what Zeromus's true colors end up being short.
Oh, Lord Hayato, if there is, I don't think I've seen it, and I don't know exactly which game that Mara would be from. I've seen a lot of sprites, though, and in spite of the current pack having been there since May or June, I believe, I still see new ones every week or so.
It's a little bit ridiculous when you stop and think how many different ones there's got to be out there, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've not even scratched the surface.
Oh, and just wait till the next pack gets added. It's like DLC, except it's free. Oh, that's cute. This is the alternate Zeromus fight that was included in the Japanese easy type version of the game, and I think is included as an optional boss in the advanced versions for the Game Boy Advance. I'm not positive on the latter, but you know, Easy Zeromus. So this is the sprite they changed it to for easy type. I don't know why they did, but that's who we're fighting tonight. Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy IV.
And Edward immediately decides to take a nap. That's probably actually the best target for that counter nuke, because he's going to die anyway.
Oh yeah, even a nerf Big Bang would probably kill him, and this way you can have, even though Sid going to be very slow here, he can still throw Cure 3s for the team, he can be our reflect point for these nukes. So that couldn't have worked out better for Dusty Griff had he made it happen himself. Secret Final Boss, it's one of those weird sprites. If you've seen the Neo X Death sprite from Final Fantasy V, if you've seen all the random parts of Kefka's final form with the 3-tier boss fight, who knows? They just go wild in these games, kinda. It happens.
It's like, you know what would make this boss look even more awesome? Put a girl in his chest.
You know, this general form does remind me of some of the later renditions of Ultima and Omega Weapon, especially the Final Fantasy VIII forms, now that I think about it. I should actually pull up those sprites and do a comparison check, because it looks very much like that would be the basis for Final Fantasy VIII's Omega Weapon. And Ultima Weapon.
Alright, so we've gotten at least 3 nukes off, and here comes another Big Bang. This is kind of the scary one, because Rydia's HP is still not doing terribly well. Oh, but survive.
Adamant armor on, you can rely on a few dodges and a lot of great magic defense. Dusty just throwing these counter nukes, looking to get that HP refill. Does he do it? Not with that one. Black Hole comes off. This is the tricky part, because if we already have one queued up, it's going to reflect off it's going to just kill our party member. Was this already queued? Oh no, he did it directly. Dusty's counting. He counted these HP. So this...
I think he did, yeah, and that's it. He skipped the HP refill.
Oh,
and there's the flag.
To target it directly. Oh. Dusty, on a Friday night, you're too good at math. Pour one out for yourself after this. You've earned it. First place overall, 139.54 SRL time. Gee.
Very well done, Dusty Griff. We'll see if we can get him in here for a chat here before too long. But first place, showing us exactly how it's done. You mentioned it. He's just been getting better and better and better. Started off in the highway to the Zemus zone, and he's been a force recently.
Oh yeah, I was in his group in the playoffs, and he was very intimidating competition. So to see him getting even better and better, ooh, looking forward to some upcoming renewed challenges going on. And with that, Big Dunka already on the moon, Baka Shinobi heading there, Smapedy hopefully getting his Darkness Crystal soon. Everyone's going to think, oh, okay. Only one place to go from here if Dusty's done.
Yep, going to the moon. I see Dusty here. Let's go ahead and get him in here for a quick chat.
Gotcha. You pulling him in? Dusty Griff, GG, sir.
Hey, thank you. GG's.
You have been killing it between Seeds of the Week and tonight, this amazing first place finish. And I may have been observing your menuing earlier. You've clearly been practicing a lot, but what really made you decide to go ahead and jump to the moon rather than doing more Earth clears?
Well, my heart kind of sank a little bit when I was went back to Zot when I did Twin Harp and found Magma Key there. And so I said, well, now that I have Darkness, and I kind of wanted to clear Zot anyways, just to see what characters there were.
Mm-hmm.
So when I did, I said, well, I've got my full party now. It may not be the best party, but I'll go with it from here and just go to the moon because I felt pretty comfortable. I mean, we had Bahamut, had a couple Adamants. I figured, you know what, not everyone's probably gonna make this play, so I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, one of our featured racers, I at this point I'm unsure if it was Smapedy or Big Dunka. Upon seeing the Golbez fight in the King Queen Upland spot, immediately realized, wait, there's another path to the underground.
Right.
And they retreated, they got their Magma Key, and went ahead and cleared that spot as well.
Right.
You were already underground by that point, just because you're like, oh, Golbez, what a chump, I got this guy.
Right.
But no one else finished in the SRL chat yet, so clearly your fear of being usurped by someone who did the fire dog check paid off for you. You went to the moon, you checked those spots, and it did very well for you. Yeah, any other main observations about that seed? Thoughts that you had while going through it?
It felt good, like a good win, but at the same time, it is this B0 K3 mix is definitely very lottery. So I definitely fully understand that there's a certain amount of luck involved in this one, but yeah, overall felt good.
Hey, you have to be good to get lucky, and you had them both in spades tonight, sir.
Perfect, thanks.
And in the meantime, we do have a second place finisher, Moonplays Wolf, one of our Twinvitational 2v2 champs, apparently really feeling that K3, K4 lifestyle, has finished in second place with a 143.34. GG to Blaze.
GG's.
Excellent. So we have Dunka and Baka Shinobi on the moon. Smepty just got his Darkness Crystal. Yeah, that Twin Harp was really the key once you got there. But after that, it's just go back to the pedestal spots and go.
And that is one thing that, again, I don't know the weighting. This is, the code of the game is still privately held by Boardface, but these 2v2s have really given us a feel that the Crystal Palace treasure spots are very important, very important. And again tonight, huge payoff for our winner, and I'm presumably for second place as well.
No, looks like we just also had a third place finisher as well. Hippos finished at 145.14 as well. I mean, there's more than 20 people in this race, so it's not just our four featured runners. And I will say, Invid, I don't know about you, but even since Highway to the Zenith Zone, the quality of competition in the community has just been skyrocketing. There's daily races going on, multiple races at a time. There's people who are just getting together and it's like, yeah, we're going to do like 5 races in a row. Let's go ahead and do this. The quality of competition in this community has just blown up in the past few months.
Oh, absolutely. And Hippos, by the way, not just killing it in the Free Enterprise Randomizer, also a fantastic runner of Link to the Past Randomizer. He's just killing it at everything he tries. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does if he partakes of the World Series of Free Enterprise this coming February, because he has been doing work and very excellent racer of the game at this point. And speaking of people in who are good cross-platform, we have a 4th place finisher, Zyrak, with a 146.06. GG Zyrak. It looks like a lot of people roughly in Dusty's spot. Maybe did 1 or 2 rabbit holes in the underworld, decided to chase that Twin Harp, which the Earth Crystal really kind of guided us to. If you have those 2 key items, it's very likely you're going to go to Troya and do them both at once. Guided people to the Darkness Crystal. Anyone who then decided to make the Moon play, in fantastic shape to go ahead, go down, knock out those 2 pedestal spots, and be amply rewarded. So it won't surprise me if we see quite a few more finishers in the sub 2 hour range, even with it being a K3 seed.
It's really interesting to me because, you know, we didn't have that white mage, and that hurts not only from an end game perspective, not necessarily having the mage to heal us, so you have to be aware of that and get your Cure 3 ready, but also for all those treasures in both, primarily in Sylph Cave, because there's 7 spots. So we saw Baka Shinobi kind of dive down the rabbit hole a little bit there, chasing those down. I wonder how many other people really decided that, you know, doing that low percent play, hey, no one has float. Whoever does this, it's going to be a time sink, so you just bite the bullet and try that. I really think we're going to see some time spread out as we get further into it. But yeah, those people who just followed the logic, went up to the moon kind of as you normally would once you get the crystal. Yeah, I think we're going to see quite a few finishes here shortly.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the tower key was the big red herring, of course, saying, hey, you want to come up Babel? And then the fact that a lot of our racers went through the hook path, and you see a Lugay fight, which is not threatening at all. So you may waste a little time there, but if you see that Antlion fight in Feymarch, you go, oh, I don't want to do that. You think of the 7 chests in Sylph Cave, I don't want to do that. And that doesn't leave a whole lot of options. So clearly, by the way, 5th place finisher, Chokosura, 147.41. GG to them as well. It was a surprise. Like, it kind of tried to funnel you in. Like, Natara gave us a little bit of rudeness for the seed she made tonight. Like, with that magma key, like, psych out at the end. Oh, it's Golbez. Wouldn't you like to know the other way underground? But it also did a little bit of funneling. The lack of a white mage may have sped things up for a lot of our racers, which you wouldn't think would be a thing. But all of a sudden, you're not doing Sylph Cave. You want to do reflect strats because you can't heal up through too many big bangs. And it works out surprisingly. Very interesting.
Niram now also finishing in 6th place at 149.05. Looks like Dunka's kind of doing things, clearing it front to back, doing these trap treasure chests, doing things as he's going through. The unfortunate thing is he's going to get to the very end. He's probably going to open most of the trap treasure chests until he finally gets the crystal. But look at his levels are going to be just in a perfect spot. He's almost going to be over leveled by the time he's done, I think.
Yeah, Baka Shinobi in the right place, hunting the right monsters. Mist Dragon is going to be pretty easy to take down. That'll put him in go mode. Dunka taking the long way around, though. But oof. And Smapedy has the Darkness Crystal. Get you to the moon.
Yeah, I think he stopped. Looks like he picked up a nice large stack of Cure 3s. Wanted to get those out of the way, and as soon as he goes to the moon, I think he'll be in a good spot. But I wanted to clear out some of these other locations first, from the looks of it.
Dunka finding the red dragon chest. You know, honestly, I think this one bugs me less than the red dragon and blue dragon combo. The red dragon blue dragon combo, blue dragon uses a blizzard attack, which is based on its current HP. Plus, I don't believe it has. Well, I know it has a holy absorb, I believe, or resistance. At least this one you can throw ice 3s at, and you don't have to worry about that damage based on its HP. So definitely prefer these two to the red-blue dragon fight, even if the other one is less XP. Hopefully Big Dunka won't get anything that will send them on another rabbit hole. But I think at this point the only item they could get would be that Luca Key. So we know Baron Key's in Sylph Cave. Luca Key's the only chain item on the moon. Hopefully Big Dunka will not leave here without being in go mode.
Should be true. So Baka looks like is doing his grind right now. Has the crystal, is set up very nicely. Just has to get through the grind. Has a Deadward. Be interesting to see if we'll keep Edward dead. That's a lot of HP for a Deadward, honestly.
Yeah, that Edward is going to be very fast. May already be around the 28 agility mark, which is one of the break points for Zeromus's agility. We'll see how Baka Shinobi plays this.
Meanwhile, Dunka picking up a Soma drop and going through and realizing, and this is one of the more difficult parts of T4 that I think takes some getting used to. So much item management that you have to do. You just, because you're opening so many treasure chests, unless you're constantly ditching the items, your inventory fills up with a lot of crap very, very quickly, and it can really slow you down when you finally pick up something like that Soma drop that Dunka clearly wanted, but it takes a little bit of time to get there.
Yeah, and one of the other things too about that is that on C3, until you know your 5th character, which admittedly all our racers do at this point, there's that sense of, oh my gosh, if it's this person, this person, this person, I have to keep the good stuff. Especially if you've not seen a white mage. If you don't have a white mage, you're going to want the best possible gear on your team to make the fights you do have to go through as easy as possible. So, inventory management, true final boss. Pretty much.
Dunka's on the fight, necessarily, so after this, he will be on his grind as well. Baka Shinobi is there. Smepti on his way.
Excellent. If Smepti decides to dive on down to those 2 side-by-side lunar boss fights, he'll be in great shape to chase these 2 to the finish. If he takes the long way down, he may have a So yeah, it's all over but the shaken for our racers. Still no more .duns since Nirm about 5 minutes ago now. So should be interesting to see if one of our featured racers can claim 7th place.
Well, I mean, Baka Shinobi looks like he's set up and is getting everything ready to go for... looks like he's setting up reflex strats and getting those ready to roll. Dunka, as soon as he finishes this fight, will have the crystal and will be in pretty good shape. But yeah, no one has finished since Nirm. I think this is kind of that split point where there's a lot of people who are bunched up, maybe hitting their heads against Zeromus right now. Maybe they hadn't gone up to the moon quite yet. They were clearing out some other rabbit holes on Earth. We'll see.
Oh yeah, plenty of options here. The Baka Shinobi, I didn't see how many Cure 3s he has in his inventory. Opting to just walk these few floors, I mean, you have to have confidence to do this, because if you wipe even once, it would have been faster for you to have flown back to Earth and use that pass. So Baka Shinobi's saying, nah, I got this. So I'm looking forward to seeing how his fight goes. I hope it goes nice and smooth. If not, we may be seeing a little salty walk down these 4 flights of stairs again. Smapty has found the D-Lunar fight. I'm guessing that is at the Hill Dim spot. Not so bad with this team. You have plenty of magic damage. You just really don't want to hit them with a physical attack.
Absolutely. And here's Dunka setting up his King Ryu grind here right as well. Baka Shinobi, we have the sound turned over to him. Here we go. He's got Young as his anchor. 53 on Young, I think, is actually right there at the 28 agility as well.
Yeah, should be around there. And actually, depending on the gear, it may be even faster than that. I wonder if Baka intends to go for hybrid strats, or if he just really likes the idea of slowing down Zeromus as much as possible here.
Oh, he's moving his Bacchus wives to the top. Looks like he's going to zerk a few people. He's going to use some hybrid strats, I bet.
30 Cure 3s, that definitely makes this reasonable. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Reflect strats. Let's just cut the fight in half. But that Sid's going to be doing work. Yang should be... Well, actually, Yang won't be back row glitch. So what are you doing? Bacchus winding Yang from the back row.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I mean, you could flip your rows and have him front and center along with Sid and Edward. I wonder if that's just an oversight on his part or what, but the other possibility is no, he's casting spells. I was going to say, sometimes you know exactly what your DPS will be, and so you can purposefully let some characters go berserk until the first black hole, and then when the black hole hits, wrap it up with Reflect strats. But that doesn't look like what Bacchus Shinobi's doing, so I am a bit puzzled by what's happening here. I mean, he's the only one in the Zeromus fight of our featured racers, but he could still be sniped by someone in the peanut gallery.
This is true, and Dunk is right on his heels doing his grind right now.
I'm very interested to ask him his thoughts, because Sid has a bow. Sid would love to be in the back row here.
And it's not like Edward is doing a whole lot other than throwing out Cure 3s, so he doesn't need to be.
It must have been purely speed considerations. That's my guess. I'm looking forward to checking with him. So yeah, very curious about this. Of course, also going for some Reflect strats here. If he intends to do hybrid, it's fine. But with Yang berserked at that speed, you're probably not getting a refill skip. Hybrid strat's still fine. You dish out a ton of DPS that way. But you probably have to go through the full 120,000 HP rather than just 61. Oh yeah, Pyrolite noting in chat, Edward did survive the unnerfed Big Bang. Turns out having about 1100 HP on a nerf will do it for you.
Whew, that's a tight window right there, though. Baka's dishing out the damage, though. He's doing really very.
Oh yeah, and with a little luck on his timing, he can still skip the refill. It's very possible with this team. It's just harder than if you were doing it with no Zergers. And for those in the audience who are curious about what we specifically mean, Zeromus has a script that after he's taken 45 damage, but before he's taken 61,000, his full first form HP, if you hit him with a direct attack, he goes to his second form. I believe it has 63,000 HP, and starts everything over again. He enters phase 2. So if you avoid doing direct damage, or if you only do direct damage, which pushes him to his full 61,000 HP, you skip half the fight. Having Berserk characters makes this a lot trickier, so pretty sure at this point, Baka's already gone past that, but still dishing out so much DPS, I think he's going to get through here without a problem anyway. Whew. Another feature of the fight is that sometimes, and this is a little more... Oh, we see rocks falling.
Media phase, yep.
Yeah. If Zeromus is slowed down and you just queue up your actions as quickly as possible, which having Zerg characters lets you do, you kind of clog the queue in a way to where it's harder for him to get his attacks off. And it looks like Baka Shinobi has done just that. GG.
Yeah, GG Baka Shinobi does finish in 7th place, 2 hours and 20 seconds. GG Baka.
Oh,
right as Big Dunkus starts, yeah.
20 seconds shy of being in the sub 2 club. Ooh, but hey, beautiful Z fight, not a care in the world. who needs a white mage when you got DPS like this? Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. You see, the best healer is one you don't need because you just stack yourself with 5 DPS.
Exactly.
We'll see if we can't get Baka in here. Big Dunka starting his Zero Miss fight. Smepty right next door to where the crystal is. Smepty's levels are probably doing pretty well as well.
Oh yeah, I think that Smapey did the vast majority of his grinding first, just to make sure these bosses go down in a hurry. Already has 10 key items, so was already... Oh wait! That dais was clear. Smapey should already have the crystal. Or did he just backtrack? Did he just go in the door and decide not to?
I think he went to the door and then backtracked, thinking, oh, this has 2 items. That one has 1 item, so I'm going to do this one first, which logically I can see.
Touche.
Not the right call this one, but...
Oh, was he about to do a swag meeting? Oh, he's 1 level shy of knowing Nuke on the kid. That's why. Callum is level 51. Does not know Nuke yet. Opting for Meteo instead. Probably not going to get it off. It's a very... Wait, no, he did Virus. Never mind. He's fine. He's fine. I thought he had tried Meteo. I'm like, that's probably not going off in time. But no, he's good. He's good.
Meanwhile, Baka Shinobi now joins us. GG, sir.
Thank you.
Baka. Yeah. Go ahead.
I saw that no one was done when I was still on Earth. Said, everyone's going to say, man, Gauntlet is terrible. I don't want to do that. So I decided, that's a great meta play. It was not a great meta play.
I mean, there are those gambles to take sometimes. It's, do I want to play conservatively and maybe take, 4th or 5th place if I had some hiccups? Or do I want to make the huge gamble and try to take first for myself? And, when it pays off, things look like a genius. And when they don't, hey, you still got 7th overall. Nothing shabby about that.
Not too shabby.
I will say...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead, Edmund. I'm sorry.
Okay. Your team arrangement going into this Romus fight, why did you keep Yang in the back row? Did you just not take the time to do a rush? Oh, okay. Good reason. That's a reason I do a lot of things I do in this game that are suboptimal. Never mind.
I mostly cared about keeping Rydia and Horum on the top and bottom slots to make it easier for reflex strats. Because they're going to go first or second.
Oh yeah, and worked like a charm for you. I don't think you had 1 Big Bang and then only 1 Meteo, and that was it.
Yeah, I decided just to go.
And that was even without getting the refill. So you clown on Zeromus. Beautifully done. What were you going to say, Vitasia?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Baka is the star here at this point. What were you going to say?
Absolutely.
I was just going to say I picked hybrid strats to make sure that I could skip even if I lost the refill skip, I wouldn't go and get a second Big Bang and didn't have to worry so much about Rydia dying. Granted, when she took 200 damage from the first Big Bang, it was probably not much of a worry, but it did help keep me out of worrying about recovery and just in full damage mode.
Oh yeah, that makes sense, because one of the worst things that can happen that is going into panic during the Zeromus fight. If you panic, all of a sudden you misclick, you enter the wrong command, and everything just falls to pieces. And you were smooth sailing the entire way through. Very beautifully executed.
Thank you.
So I was going to ask you about the play that you made into Sylph Cave, where you ended up picking up the Baron Key, and no white mages in this fight. Were you thinking, I should follow through on this Baron Key, because I don't think a whole lot of people actually took the time to go through this game?
Pretty much. I figured everyone else hates Sylph Cave. No one wants to do this without float. I will thoroughly support the Baron Potion industry and just chug like it's my job.
Nice catch. Nice save.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done, sir.
But yeah, great execution. Sorry, I loved the Sylph play when you made it. It was really, like, it was one of those things where it's like, as Vitasia said, no one else wants to do this. It pays off. I look amazing. And you looked amazing anyway. You kicked Z's butt. Very well done again tonight, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great fun. Sad that Sylph didn't pay off, but not everything can go your way.
Gotcha. Well, GG's. And in the meantime, Big Dunka taking down Zeromus just a few minutes behind Baka Shinobi. Ninth place, 2:05.25. In the meantime, Quest for Warkin took 8th with 2:03.03. And Sonny Wrath has taken 10th with 2:05.43. We'll hopefully be joined by Big Dunka shortly and be able to check in with him.
Yep, and there's Smepty now doing the demist fight, as we know and love, and he's probably thinking to himself, no, I have to go all the way back down. No, you don't have to, Smepty, we promise.
Yeah, I was prepared to bail for Luke if he said, no, we've got a lot of good, consistent players. Let's just finish this out.
And amply rewarded, amply rewarded.
All right, so Smepty going to be finishing things off. We'll see if Dunka can't join us shortly. PMA Fall, I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but just finished with 11th place, 2:07.10. And there's Big Dunka. GG, sir.
Yeah, GG.
Dunka, I want to give you big props. I believe you were the one of our featured racers who, on seeing Golbez, took note of that B1 flag and realized that you had a better option to get underground. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, okay, well, there was... I think there was a few things that threw me off on that one, but, no. I realized it after. So, basically, the, when I saw where the magma key was, the gear started churning, and it was kind of at that point where I realized, oh, wait a second, this is, because I caught the the N2 flag early, but the B1 flag came in, excuse me, and I was things didn't seem right. Let's put it that way when that magma key popped up, and realized that I didn't have to go through Assure at that point.
Gotcha. So you didn't exit just because of that. You actually were just going to check the Earth crystal.
Well, I was gonna. Well, when I died to Assure, the first thing in my mind was I need to go get more walls. I need to go get more Star Veils because I only had one. I had like one Move Veil, one Star Veil, and then when I'm up there, I'm like, I'm a little rusty. I haven't played in like 4 or 5 weeks, and I realized that something didn't seem right with the way that setup was, and I saw Golbez. When you see Golbez there, you have to kind of put the pieces together, and it wasn't until I saw the magma key at that location that I fully realized what was going on. So it was kind of in the back of my head, but I wasn't fully committed to the play. But I knew I wasn't going to go back to Assure, and well, again, it was still churning in the brain, but it didn't actually click until it went there, and I realized that I did not, there was nothing on there. Not only that, obviously it's the last boss. There's no misdragon on there, so.
Yeah, like it was kind of cute because we have the N2 flag, so you're thinking, oh, okay, bosses are going to be hard. You have the C3 flag, oh, my team terrible. And then all of a sudden, wait, we were bequeathed this wonderful B1 flag, and we thought that you were just the only one who actually noticed it, but it still worked out for you though. You could have just played off, be like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. We wouldn't have known any better.
I'm not taking full credit on that one. It kind of clued to me afterward, but but at that moment when I ran out of when the wall ran out of the shirt, I kind of knew I was done. But yeah, it was at that point where things it's one of those things you realize something's wrong, but you don't quite figure out what it is until you're like halfway through what you're doing.
Well, it paid off for you. You dodged a really annoying fight that I think all our other racers, at least featured ones, did pursue that path to the underground. You got your extra key item for it. You had your full party much sooner than anyone else had their Rydia, and it let you do some work. You did very well tonight, sir. Especially, you said 4 to 5 weeks?
Yeah, I'm really rough. I was busy playing the Zelda fall tourney.
So, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So my tourney just ended this last week, so I finally have some free time in my hands.
Oh, great. Now you have to come kick our butts in this. Thanks. Nah. It's all good, dude. Looking forward to seeing you in more of the community races upcoming. Any other thoughts on that seed?
So what? Okay, let's go through this. Avenger, Crystal Sword, a couple of ninja shirts, couple of ninja swords. There was, I think, it was either a Masamune. I can't remember which one it was. One of them was in there. Knew immediately. No Edge, no Kane, no Cecil. It was the easiest guess of all.
And you're not complaining about the lack of a white mage on top of that?
Honestly, with 2 black mages there, I'm not actually, because Zermus melts there. I'm not a huge fan of reflex strats. I prefer the melee strats over the reflex strats, but with double adamant armors and one of them on Palom, that boss was just gonna melt. There was no chance on that one. So yeah, and white mage, you know, the biggest, they mentioned that the biggest find out of all those, and that's why I kept going to item shops, was the Cure 3s.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing we mentioned, that they are, if you're on C3 and S2, they are guaranteed to be an A shop somewhere.
Yeah.
So it definitely helped everyone out tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. That was like the biggest find. That's why I was still looking for those. I'm like, all right, yeah, I think I've got everything I need at this point. I just need to get to the end. So.
Very well played. No panic, despite no white mage, no Asura summon. We thought this would give more people hiccups, but again, the level of play has increased to such a point that everyone's just taken this in stride. Very impressive.
Yeah. No, honestly, it wasn't that bad. You know, there's a couple of hiccups early. You know, a couple of bosses in the early game that were a little tough. I'm glad I didn't commit to the Sliff Cave grind. I thought about it, and then decided to just go through it all and come back to it if I needed to. And then, of course, Dark Crystal shows up, and there's no chance to go back to Sliff Cave at that point.
Oh, yeah. That was probably, honestly, more annoying of a place to go to than Zeromus without a white mage, given how potent this team was.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't think about that.
Ooh, more big bangs coming out on Smapey's screen, but another reflected nuke. Smapey going for skip strats, apparently.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone else throwing a punch, and there it is. With the flash, Smepty does finish total of 14th place with a time of 2:12:32. GG Smepty, our last featured runner completing the seed. We'll see if we can't get him in for.
Also, just while he's on his way in here, amazing job by all our featured runners in that Zeromus fight tonight. A lot of times on a C3 seed, you'll see people get in the Zeromus fight and kind of stumble, kind of have a little bit of trouble. All 4 of our featured racers tonight just dunking on this final boss. We need to go ask Boardface to give us a little tougher Zeromus fight. Can we make that happen?
Yeah, I think that what it should be is if you do not have Spoon Edward, then it will be a harder fight. And,
there we go.
Yeah, you must have Spoon equipped Edward, and then it's the normal fight.
I'm on board with this plan. We'll see if we can. We'll see if we can make that happen.
I'm gonna jump out. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, GG again. Thank you for.
Much appreciated. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Yep, and there's Bako Shinobi as well. We'll see if we can't get Smepty. Please also give a big shout out to all of our featured runners: Smepty, Baka Shinobi, Dusty Griff, and Big Dunka. Easiest way to support them and what they do, go ahead and follow them right here on Twitch. Also want to give a shout out to our wonderful tracker, Mr. Ebeek, doing all the work, making things look easy for us on this end. Thank you so much, man.
And also, Vitasia, one of the eminent commentators on the Speed Gaming Network. Great to work with you tonight, my friend. Love doing it.
It's always a pleasure, Inven. Follow this guy too. He's absolutely great in every game that he runs, and I'm a little bit jealous.
Well, some games I run, other games I run from, and depending on what I'm playing, you can probably easily tell the difference.
Let's see if we can get some Smepty in here.
The invite should have gone out when he was marked as done. So hopefully he'll get in here in a minute, as long as he's paying attention to Discord, of course. Discord, who uses that in 2018?
Oh yeah, such outdated technology. And here we go. Smepty, GG, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
So, first thing, what's it like going through a C3 flag, kind of hoping for all hope for a white mage, and it just never coming to.
Well, I mean, as soon as I saw Sid right off the bat in Baron Inn, and then peeked in Kaipo and saw Edward, I basically just steeled myself right there. I was like, okay, get it in your head right now that you're not getting a white mage. So from that point, there was Cure 2s available early, which helped out early on, and then thankfully easy access to the Cure 3s after we got into the Underground. So it didn't end up being that huge of an issue as much as I was worried that it would be, though it did make going through the Sylph Cave a pain in the butt, having to go in the menu every 5 seconds.
Yeah, that was one thing that people who gambled on Sylph Cave thinking, oh, there's no white mage, who's going to do this? Huge payoff, and then Sylph Cave, nope. Tower, nope. Like, very, very little payoff for a lot of the trap chests this run. But notably, I'll say all 4, I'll reiterate this, for those of you who aren't watching, follow all 4 of these racers. That Zeromus fight, smooth as butter for you and everyone else. Got that refill skip. You didn't seem to even care that you were lacking the white mage at all.
Yeah, when I think it was Earth Crystal following that into Zot and found out we got Rydia, I knew, all right, from this point forward, just get straight for the reflex strats and do the refill, and with 3 people acting as chemists, basically. I knew Zeromus wasn't going to be a problem. From that point, it was just a matter of finding the crystal and actually being able to get to the fight. You'd be surprised how much you can do with access to lives in Cure 3s.
Does a lot of work. And you seem to chase a couple little rabbit holes on the moon before actually going to your crystal. Were you trying to metagame there based on when everyone else finished, or is that just your usual routine?
That was the patent Snapey technique of have absolutely no idea what route you're going to follow when you go to the moon and get distracted by everything. I don't recommend it if you're new to this game. I don't recommend it if you're a veteran of this game either. But it is patent pending.
Excellent, excellent. Vitasia, any more insight you seek to glean from our final restreamed racer tonight?
No, just GG Smeppy. It was one of those scenes that, again, I think we were glad we were in the booth and not having to run that one, because, once you got to the end, I think you were fine. There was just some speed bumps along the way. Maybe you wish you wouldn't have run over.
Yeah, that I think this makes the second time in a row I have been restreamed and chased a hook seed when it ended up not being a hook seed. So hopefully next time we can make it 3 for 3. But yeah, thanks you guys for restreaming. Thanks to all the tracker and restream and everything. Really appreciate you guys doing all this tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, the race wouldn't happen without people being willing to play the game and be restreamed and thrown up on the big stage, so thank you for your help. Huge shout out, by the way, to the Speed Gaming Network. Great to be here every Friday night. If you're interested in Free Enterprise, follow that Discord link. Come on out and join us. We have Monday races on Random Mania Network. We have Friday races here on Speed Gaming Network. And we have pickup races forming all the time. So if you want to learn, come on out. Great randomizer, full of nostalgia, full of strategy. Great game to play.
Absolutely. If you're wondering what else is going on tonight on the Speed Gaming Network, just started about 20 minutes ago over on Speed Gaming 2. They're having the Legend of Zelda Link to the Past daily race. However, they're showcasing their seasonal randomizer. So they have a special extra Festivus flair going on that one. So that's going on over at Speed Gaming 2. Here in about 10 minutes over on Speed Gaming 5 will be the continuation of the fall Link to the Past randomizer tournament. That'll be an all swords open mode seed. And then there is a Super Metroid weekly race going on right here on Speed Gaming 1 at 11 o'clock Eastern. So in about an hour and a half or so. So still lots more coming in at you from the Speed Gaming Network. All different sorts of games, all sorts of different randomizers coming at you. It's all speed gaming all the time.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast. That's our mantra, right? But yeah, that should just about wrap it up for us. My name's been,
and I'm Invenerable.
And we'll see you guys at the next race. Have a great rest of your night.
Night, everyone.